Hi and welcome to this section on financial planning. Now, first of all, I just want to say that it's great to have you here because there are so many people who are truly scared of planning their financials. But if you want to have a successful business up and running, you need to understand your numbers. You need to understand how much revenue am I going to generate and what are my expenses going to be. Now, we're going to take a big step back and start off with this lecture where we're going to look at what exactly is financial planning and why is it so important. Let's dive in. So let's look at what financial planning actually is. Now, we can define financial planning as setting our goal, right? It's goal setting. And what do I mean with a financial planning and having a goal? Well, that means that we're looking to create a profitable business that's going to be up and running in, say, 3 years, or in 2 years, or say in 1 year, or when it's an online business, things can move really fast and it can be in just a month or two. So the idea is that we're going to do our financial planning to set a goal. And the purpose of this goal is to understand where we are and where we want to go. And then this goal will serve as a map. Now, if we don't have a goal and if we don't create a plan, the plan is your map, and if we don't create a plan to reach that goal, well, then the business can go in any direction. And you don't want to waste your precious time, well, on a business where you don't know if it's going to succeed or not. We want to maximize our chances of succeeding. So how are we going to do this? Well, a part of financial planning is building a budget. So that is what we're going to be doing in the upcoming lectures. We're going to look at what the possible revenue streams are going to be, how much we can look at that we might actually earn from our different income sources, and then we're going to look at what the different expenses are going to be. Then we're going to look at things such as capital, liability, and see what is going to be the total worth of my business. What do I need to invest in, and how is that going to affect my cash flow? And if all you're hearing is a bunch of random words, don't worry about it, because we're going to move step by step together in this section, and we're going to go through it all, and you're going to understand every single bit. And of course, we're going to use templates. So when we're building our budget, we need to have a goal, right? We need to understand that we're looking to become profitable. But before we can set a goal and before we can properly build our budget, we need to do something that's known as forecasting. And that is what we're going to move on to do in the very next lecture. Now, forecasting is when we're looking at what we will actually be selling and how much we can expect to earn from that, what our actual expenses will be, and then take things into consideration such as taxes, such as seasonality, such as inventory if you need to use such a thing, etc., and see what can you actually expect to earn and how much is that going to cost, and what are going to be your actual profits, and how much are you going to need to reinvest into your business to scale it and grow it, because that's what we're looking to do, right? We're looking to grow our business over time. But in order to do that, we need to understand where we are, where we want to go, and what the way there or the road to that very place is going to be. And that is, in essence, is our financial planning, right? So to do financial planning, we need to do forecasting, and forecasting is assuming how much do we think we're going to earn. And we're going to dive deeper into this in the very next lecture. So then the very next question is, well, this all sounds great, but how do I actually do my financial planning? Where am I going to write it? What am I going to write? How do I calculate? There's a lot of questions popping up, and this is why people are so afraid of doing financial planning. But what we're going to do is use the financial statements. And there are 3 gold standard financial statements that every company uses and that every investor is looking at when they're looking to invest in a certain company. And those 3 statements are, first of all, your profits and loss statement. They are your balance sheet, and then finally your cash flow. And all of these statements we have already created into templates for you, so there's nothing you need to do. And in a couple of lectures I'm going to show you what all of these different things mean and how we can fill these out. And these are professional templates that you can show into any investor if you're looking to be invested into. And of course, we're going to use these to do our forecasting, and then to also see, okay, I have forecasted this, where is my business actually at? And we're going to look at this on a month-to-month basis and on a a 3-year projection basis. Now, projection and forecasting, you might have heard the word financial projecting before, but projecting and forecasting are pretty much the same thing. Some people will disagree on that, but that is not important. They are pretty much the same thing. So we're going to look at, once again, how much are we expecting to earn month by month, and how much are we expecting to earn year by year. And we're going to look 3 years ahead, because 3 years ahead is also a gold standard for a lot of investors. So if you're looking to get invested into, well, this is going to be perfect, because we're going to be ticking off all of the boxes and using the standardized templates, but of course that we have made ourselves, so that you can actually use them and own them. And finally, before we move on to the next lecture, I want to talk about something very important, and that is credibility. And what do I mean with credibility? Well, when we're doing our financial planning, we are going to have to assume a couple of things. We're going to have to estimate how much we will be earning and what our expenses will be. And there are going to be a couple of different forces here, because your potential investors, if you're looking to get invested into, they want to see a very ambitious financial plan. Why? Because if you are ambitious, that means that if they invest in you, they have a lot of money that they can earn. It increases their earning potential. But at the same time, you need to be careful not to be over ambitious, because if you are over ambitious, that means that you might mess up the financials of your business, and that is how things come crashing down, and that is no good. So you kind of want to meddle between being very realistic and being ambitious enough. And that is what I call credibility, because if you go too far into any direction, if you push things too far, you show too much potential, investors aren't going to believe in you, and also chances are that you're not going to be able to reach those goals. And then, well, then you have planned for something that's not going to happen, and that's very dangerous for a business. But at the same time, if you are too conservative and your numbers are much higher, that shows two things. One, you don't understand your own financial planning, no good for investors, and also they aren't going to be interested in investing into you to begin with, because it doesn't have a lot of growth potential. So that is what we call credibility. We need to find this sweet spot so that we can apply to being both ambitious and being realistic. And we're going to look at how to do this in the upcoming lectures. And finally, if you're doing this yourself, it's very important that you're not only catering, or rather trying to make things look good for investors, but this is your financial plan for your business. You need to make sure that this is nailed, that your business becomes operational and functional, and that you can pay your bills, so you can keep running and make a profit. Because if you can't even pay yourself a salary, chances are you can't pay anyone else a salary, and then it's going to be very hard to scale, unless of course it's online based and you have different ways of scaling, which is completely possible with an online business. But hiring staff is one of those ways that we can really scale our business, but we need to be able to afford it. And to afford it, we need our financial plan to understand what needs to be done to reach there. So great job making it this far. Now, financial planning in a nutshell is setting your goal, building a budget based on that goal, and then of course that budget is going to be based on your forecasting, and we're going to learn how to do proper forecasting. And then we're going to fill out our financial statement, and we're going to make them all as credible as possible, and then we have our financial plans, right? This is perfect. So let's get started and move on to the very next lecture, when we're going to start understanding how forecasting works. See you in the next lecture.